There is a version of intelligence that looks like a gift from the outside, but from the inside, it feels like something else entirely. Something heavier, something lonelier, something that never quite turns off. Welcome back to Mind Unlocked. Today we are going somewhere most people never think to look. Inside the minds of people with extremely high IQs. Not to celebrate them, not to envy them, but to understand what that level of intelligence actually costs. Because nobody talks about this side of it. And they should. The first thing that happens at a very high IQ is that your brain processes patterns faster than almost everyone around you. Sounds useful, and it is, until it isn't. Because when your mind sees the end of an argument before it has even begun, when you already know where the conversation is going, when you finish people's thoughts 3 steps ahead, connection becomes almost impossible. Psychologists call this the communication gap. It is not arrogance. It is a genuine neurological mismatch. Your processing speed runs on a different frequency than most of the people in your life. And over time, that gap does not just affect conversations. It affects relationships, friendships, and the quiet but persistent feeling that nobody truly understands how you think. The second thing, and this one is rarely discussed, is that high intelligence is deeply linked to anxiety, not occasionally, chronically. A study published in the journal Intelligence found that people with higher IQs reported significantly higher rates of anxiety disorders, mood disorders, and hypersensitivity. The psychological mechanism behind this is something researchers call overexcitability, a term developed by Polish psychologist Kazimierz Dabrowski. A highly intelligent brain does not just think more. It feels more intensely, reacts more deeply, and processes threat signals with far greater sensitivity than an average brain. The same neural wiring that makes pattern recognition exceptional also makes the nervous system extraordinarily reactive. You do not just notice more. You feel the weight of what you notice. The third thing is what psychologists call analysis paralysis. And for high IQ individuals, it is not a productivity problem. It is a psychological trap. When your brain can generate dozens of possibilities, outcomes, and counterarguments for every single decision, choosing becomes genuinely painful. The mind sees too many variables, too many ways things could go wrong, too many second and third order consequences that most people would never think to consider. And so the very intelligence that should make decisions easier makes them harder. Simple choices become exhausting. Big decisions become almost unbearable. And from the outside, this looks like overthinking. From the inside, it feels like being trapped inside your own mind with no exit. The fourth thing is existential weight. At high levels of intelligence, the brain naturally turns toward the largest questions. Why does anything exist? What is the point of it all? What happens after? And unlike most people who can push these questions aside and move forward, a very high IQ mind cannot easily let them go. It returns to them, obsessively, quietly, especially at night. Philosopher and psychologist William James described this as the burden of consciousness. The awareness that comes with deep thinking is not peaceful. It is relentless. And for many high IQ individuals, this existential restlessness becomes a permanent background hum that never fully quiets down. The fifth thing, and perhaps the most painful, is the loneliness that intelligence can create. Not the loneliness of being alone, but the loneliness of being surrounded by people and still feeling completely unseen. When your inner world is extraordinarily complex. When your thoughts move in directions most people do not follow. When your humor is too layered. Your references too specific. Your observations too unusual. You learn to perform a simpler version of yourself in public. Psychologists call this masking. And it is exhausting. Because the version of you that the world sees is never quite the version that actually exists. And that gap between who you are and who you show quietly becomes one of the heaviest things a high IQ person carries. Here is what ties all of this together. A very high IQ is not a superpower. It is an amplifier. It amplifies perception, pattern recognition, and creativity, but it also amplifies anxiety, loneliness, overthinking, and existential pain. The gift and the burden come from exactly the same place. The same brain that sees more also feels more. An understanding that is not about feeling sorry for highly intelligent people. It is about understanding that intelligence, real intelligence, is never simple. It is never just an advantage. It is always, always complex. And if this video made something click for you, if you recognized yourself or someone you know in these patterns, our last video might go even deeper. We talked about 5 thinking mistakes that even smart people make without realizing it. Go watch that one next. The link is right there waiting for you. See you in the next video on Mind Unlocked.